Banks have become such a convenient, safe, and accessible place to store your money, we don't really think too much about it. But these safe havens for your dollars can become black holes if you don't play by their rules. So let's break down bank fees. There are a lot of different kinds of fees, so strap yourselves in. The first one most people encounter is the account maintenance fee for both checking and savings accounts, though banks can sometimes waive these for having both, setting up direct deposit, or getting some other product or service from that same bank. As far as the rest go, there are transaction fees, penalties for spending or receiving the wrong amount of money, and balance fees, penalties for having the wrong amount of money in your account. Let's start with ATM fees. If your bank owns that ATM, there's never a fee. Your bank may also have agreements with other ATM providers to treat your money the same way. Otherwise, you'll have to pay the ATM to get your money, and your bank may punish your infidelity with a fee of its own. This comes up a lot during travel, especially for those with local or online banks. Know where to find an in-network ATM at your destination, or stock up on cash before your trip. While you're traveling, you may also encounter foreign transaction fees, which happen whenever a transaction forces a currency conversion. This can happen equally to both debit and credit cards. While some banks offer waivers for these fees and others provide debit cards without them, the easiest fix is to get your currency converted prior to your trip. This can also come up when buying stuff online from companies based outside of your country. If you're a fan of building with blocks, you've likely encountered this at some point. As you're doing your transactions, make sure you're doing them out of a checking account as opposed to a savings account. Savings accounts are limited by law to only 6 withdrawals per month, with a Regulation D fee for anything more than that. What about checks? I've already talked about checks in general, but did you know that they incur fees when they bounce? This can hit you one of two ways, called a not sufficient funds fee if you're the bouncer, and a returned deposit fee if you're the one bounced upon. What's left is the final boss of transaction fees, the overdraft. Checks can bounce, but debit card purchases and direct transfers out of your bank account do not. The bank covers them anyway and then charges you a fee for it. A commonly misunderstood solution to these is overdraft protection, which is not some magical please don't charge me fees button. What this does is instead of charging the account with no money, money is transferred from another account at that same bank to cover the difference. This could be another checking account, another savings account, an investment, or even a credit card. But if you don't have these accounts, or they're different institutions, then you're vulnerable to overdrafts. If that's you, autopay is not your friend. Stay in control of paying the bills and subscription fees you need and stop paying the ones you don't. Which brings us to the first of the balance fees, the negative balance fee. This is incurred once for each day that you're negative. Some bank accounts have minimum balance requirements above 0 and will charge you similarly if your balance falls below that. And if your balance goes too long without changing, you get an inactivity fee. These are incurred monthly on accounts with no activity for either 3, 6, or 12 months. Just one transaction is often enough to reset the clock, making this fee one of the most easily avoided. Alternatively, you could close the account, which may incur an account closing fee. Banks want long-term customers and may levy on you an account closing fee if you close an account within several months or years of opening it. There are other fees that don't fit neatly into any category, like paper statement fees that you can opt out of by choosing to view your bank statements online, or lost card fees if you ever need to replace a debit card. While each individual fee has strategies to avoid it, you might be wondering if there's something that you can do to more broadly reduce your fees. And the answer is yes. The large banking chains you know and maybe love tend to have higher fees. Local banks and credit unions have lower fees than that, and the lowest fees come from online-only banks. Banking is an industry full of fees, and if you want to make the most of their services, you should know the cost. You now have a better understanding of transaction fees, balance fees, other fees, and how to best minimize or avoid those fees. Hopefully going forward, you can spend less time worrying about fees and more time saving the bees, or whatever it is you do in your free time.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful, make sure to leave a like on your way to your next adventure. I cover everything adulting from personal finance to civic engagement and beyond. If that's your jam, you can subscribe to the channel. If there's something you want me to cover next, drop a suggestion in the comments down below.